when a man is looking at a woman, automatically some of the things that are perhaps going through his head, not necessarily very...
Here's my question, and this isn't about Islam, because the same argument, I've seen it appear in other religions. I saw it in evangelical Christianity, talking about how, the man needs to lower their gaze because, as we know, as he said, like, when a man looks at a woman and, their thoughts may not be something respectful. Maybe I'm missing it, but are we not talking about sex? Like, isn't the implication that when a man looks at a beautiful woman or a woman that doesn't have, modest clothes on, that he's thinking about that it would be good to have sex with her or that she's sexy? And why is that not respectful? Why is attraction not considered respectful?
Hi Casey, as a longtime follower and fan of your content, I'm incredibly disappointed to have seen this video from you. I acknowledge that you mentioned in the previous video that you're not just talking about Islam. I can't speak for other religions and what they may or may not think around dressing modestly for women, men, or for anyone else, but I will speak on Islam's position. Having said that, before I get into my response, I want to note that your video kind of comes off incredibly condescending, especially coming from a white Western woman with the history of white Western countries deeply oppressing Muslim majority countries, Muslim communities and ethnicities, most of which are part of the global South, most of which are from BIPOC communities, and still very much today. France just put out a new law last week saying that Muslim women wearing abayas, which is just a long loose dress, can't wear abayas in public or to public schools. Like, this stuff is still happening, and this kind of rhetoric of like, oh, it's so barbaric to just tell women to dress modestly, this feeds into that. The reason that Muslim women cover themselves to the extent that they do is because we believe that the Quran, which we believe is the word of God, tells us to do so. Period. It's really as simple as that. Additionally, Muslim men and women, as the brother mentioned in the stitch that you pulled out, also are told to lower our gaze so that we are not looking and admiring the looks of other people. To your question about, well, why is attraction bad, or why would that be conceived as a negative? That is something that in the non-Muslim world, you have something very similar. I see clips all the time on TikTok, on social media, that talk about girlfriends complaining and breaking up with their boyfriends over the fact that they follow other women on Instagram and other social media platforms where they are posting pictures and videos of themselves looking very beautiful and sometimes sexually beautiful, and they don't like that. This is something that is comparable to non-Muslim spaces. Islam is meant to be a way of life, and so we believe that God tells Muslims how to live our lives in every way, and one of those things is that while being attracted and having sex is not a sin, in Islam, there are boundaries around it. You can't just have sex with literally everyone, having attraction to literally everyone. We have to work to control our thoughts and our actions and be disciplined. And part of that means that those actions are only appropriate in a marriage where two people have committed themselves to each other and honoring each other's rights. Allah, God in Islam, has given the spouses rights over each other and protection from each other, and hopefully they love and have mercy for each other. But also, when things don't go well, there are also rights that each party has so that they are protected. This concept of controlling your thoughts and controlling your actions is not something that is completely foreign to non-Muslim spaces. And this is a quote that is from another religious community, Lao Zhu. Forgive me if I'm mispronouncing his name, I'm sure I probably am. This is the father of Taoism, says something that I've heard said either explicitly or implicitly in non-Muslim spaces. This is something that is genuinely agreed as a thing. The quote says, watch your thoughts, they become your words. Watch your words, they become your actions. Watch your actions, they become your habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. Watch your character, it becomes your destiny. There are so many instances where I have seen countless times on TikTok, on Instagram, on social media, in real life, where women are talking about the pain and trauma of experiencing their male partners cheating on them. And this is one of many ways that Islam, as one way of life, tells its followers to try and maintain their own thoughts and protect their relationships, and one of that is not by staring at the looks of other people as you go by. If you as a non-Muslim don't find staring and finding someone else attractive or sexually attractive as a negative and, as you say, morally neutral, then great, that is your right to do so, that is your lifestyle, fine. But don't be talking down condescendingly to other communities, especially ones like Muslims that are constantly facing systemic and interpersonal attacks for our values. I want to end by saying two things. One, I found it very odd that your stitches are turned off and yet your duets are on for this video that I had to download and take a clip of in order to respond to you. If you were in good faith actually wanting to have a conversation and understand different other people's way of life, why would that be the case? And secondly, I am going to tag a number of amazing Muslim women who wear hijab and dress modestly for you and anyone else who comes across this video to please follow and support and to learn from humbly. Do not go and treat them badly as is communicated in the video in bad faith, the way this first video expressed. As I'm sure you've come across in emotional intelligence TikTok and therapy TikTok, you yourself are a licensed therapist. The only reason having this kind of conversation happens is because the one person actually cares and believes that the other person can change. And I have seen you, Casey. I have been watching. Again, I'm a fan of your content. I have seen you have so much care and intentionality when dealing with other communities, marginalized communities that you are not a part of. You have so much humility and kindness and care when engaging with them. And I want to believe that you can have that same kind of kindness and humility when engaging with concepts like religious identity that you don't necessarily understand and about communities that you don't belong to.